A little nut in there. It's just a smidge of sweat and nut. Ew.
Turn the brightness down a little bit. That's what I'm saying.
Smidge.
Yeah, that's actually better. Whoa.
Bro, he just chilled. He was chilling in front of that for like the past 5 minutes. He's gonna do it for like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours tonight.
Lights cannot defeat me.
Bro.
I am meant for the lights.
Oh, turn on these lights.
Oh yeah, where did the remote go? Oh, it's right there. Can you grab it?
Where'd you go?
Oh wait, I need to turn it
I
on.
missed you so.
Where do you come from? Where do you go? Where do you come from? Alright, now
So how is this connected via USB? And this is connected to the camera?
yes.
So it's the same audio source for the... Wait. I don't know.
Hey, here we go. Yeah, no, this is connected to my laptop, but also to the camera.
Is the laptop recording the audio separately as well?
The audio, the
It's
laptop,
just going straight into the
the
camera?
laptop is powering the microphone.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, so since it's been recording for a while now, do you have anything you want to say for the camera?
Actually,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
What'd you say?
We're not seeing like your full body. Your head is chopped off.
That's okay.
Why? Were you trying to stand?
Yeah, I was gonna try and do some work now, but
Yeah, that's fine.
let me see.
Alright.
Let me see what I look like again, just for the next time I show up.
You look pretty good.
I got a nice man spread in this corner right now.
Yeah, me too.
Just nuts hanging in my chinos.
How PG is this gonna be?
Can
we say fuck?
Yes and no.
I swear all the time. You know my mouth.
This is
I could not.
for
I can
children only, so we're gonna keep it about as.
This is for
Like-
man children only.
like this. Like listen, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I am like self-censoring in the regard that I'm not going full tilt in how I talk. But the moment that this episode, like that, if this podcast ever gains a following where they're comfortable with us and like I'm comfortable enough to take risk and like not being able to have a career because of it, then like I go, then I'm like, all right, guys, once we reach this threshold, it's like, help you know, we make a living off this shit. They know what we're about. So we
Yeah.
talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Bro, also people who are just elitist about language and are like, oh, like cursing.
Dude, that's such an outdated
Not a
mentality.
thing.
Like, fuck is a great word.
Dude, fuck is one of the
You can
greatest
express
words
so many
in
things
the
with
English
just fuck.
language.
It's a great word.
You
fuck
can
means
put
shit.
it in any part
It means
of a
copulate.
sentence.
It means you're late. You're
Dude,
hungry.
it can mean-
Fuck, you're
it-
dead.
You made a mistake,
happy.
you're angry, anything.
Alright, I'm gonna go do some work and look on the first.
Although, like, I'll be honest, sometimes I catch myself overusing it and then it dilutes the word.
Yeah, sometimes it gets like, oh, I'm gonna fucking go to the
No,
fucking.
hey, it's a vape, bro. It's bad for your lungs, bro. I got
Come
you.
on.
I got you, man.
Listen.
Don't do the nicotines, kids.
Suck my cock.
Just snort cocaine instead. Like real people.
I know you hate it. I'm sorry, does it
Bro, where's
have
my vape?
fiberglass in it for your lungs?
Is the thing still in your car?
You're such a puss.
Let me try and understand the flavor.
It's blue Raz. It's blue ice Raz.
Bro, I like lush ice.
It tastes like a lot of things.
Give it to me.
Blueberries on one of them. Hello everyone.
It tastes like a small.
Welcome to the weekly vape review podcast. Today we are
Bro, the guy
talking about
reviewing the Jewel.
Blue Raz lemonade.
Old guy with the beard.
It has five nicks in it.
I don't get it. Like those
Remember
people.
the guy
Which guy?
reviewing the Jewel, the old guy.
Like
my
that's not.
It has a nice
sustainable.
old
so
flavor.
funny.
Dude.
I love that video.
No, have you? I looked up a
George, you're gonna
review.
call phlegm into my vape.
I looked up a review of like an electrical dab rig that I got, and it's just this old dude
Dude,
who's just
they-
like, let's try this, and it's
They're-
different modes, and he
they're
puts
like-
in like this much dab, and he's like,
They're like ancient wizards.
yeah.
And it's just like, I've been seasoned through this for like.
Bro, these
it's like-
motherfuckers have been through like Reaganism.
Yeah.
They've been through all of these like
Yeah.
anti-weed oppressive like.
Bro, like I was
things.
talking to my friend, like
It's a fan that also
You just spray fan?
use water.
I was talking to my friend from like who's like big in the gay scene, and he's just like, I was like, dude, how are the relationships between you guys and like old gays? He's like, oh, like the Stonewall gays.
Bro.
He's like, yeah, once you get old, you're kind of out of the gay game.
Oh yeah.
You're not competitive.
The new Dave Chappelle thingy.
I can't wait. Don't say any
You can
jokes.
watch it?
No,
I haven't
I'm
seen
seeing
anything
him
yet.
next week.
It's very nice.
I'm seeing him next week, so I don't want spoilers.
Wait, you're seeing him live?
Yeah, I'm going to Nashville to see him and Rogan.
What?
What, you're seeing him and Joe Rogan?
Yeah, they're touring together.
What the
Are
fuck?
there still tickets? Should we go?
I sent it.
You sent
Me and
it?
my cousin sent it, and me and my mom, my aunt were supposed to go to Austin. Like
Wait,
a
Nashville,
month or
Tennessee?
two ago. Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee.
How far is that from you?
It's a drive. It's like a 10-hour drive.
It is a stretch.
Never mind. I don't care
Maybe
that
maybe
much
not
about
that
Joe
much.
Rogan.
It
I'm not
might
that-
be 8 hours,
I mean-
but it's not gonna be below
Listen,
8.
that's 7 hours too many. I'm willing to drive for another person that I don't.
Yeah, try doing it for a speeding ticket, bro. I drove 6 hours to Virginia Beach or to Virginia to pay a speeding ticket. Got ticketed on my way to the ticket, and then I drove 6 hours back up after they didn't even like let me off or like reduce it. I just wanted no points. They still hit me with the movie violation.
Dijon?
Dijon.
Good luck.
Oh, is it
Namaste.
recording?
It's been recording for like the past 10.
Fuck the
15
state of
minutes.
Virginia.
Fuck the state of Virginia.
At least the municipality. Like the people are nice. So I'm mad.
I haven't been to most southern states except Florida.
It's actually recording, bro. How dare you intrude?
Bro, I don't know where to put my phone.
This is a travesty upon my rights.
It's a Travis Scott of her, right?
I can't believe you did this now. It's done. It's over. Hey guys, episode. It's been great. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Alright, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, put your phone away. There's no time.
What's going on?
Man. It's been a lot, so instead of doing any work or putting any effort into classes, I'm just rewatching Mob Psycho 100.
I mean, that's pretty valid. Mob Psycho's a great series.
It just makes me feel good. Like, there's so many different like aspects to each episode. Like, this is my third time rewatching it, so I see that like sometimes the story might have a bit of a slow beat to it, especially towards the first few episodes.
Yeah, first few episodes they drag. I'm not gonna lie.
But like, there's a lot of really good moments in there that I watch. I'm like, damn! Like, there's a reason why it's one of my favorite animes ever.
Yeah, but you also like you're a lot more patient with it because you like it so much, and also like,
Definitely.
on the rewatch you're more appreciative of like the initial interactions, I guess. Like for me, I rewatched Hunter 2-3 times, and well, like I call it Hunter x Hunter, but like Hunter x Hunter was like what was it, 130 episodes around there?
The second,
Like the full entirety of Hunter x Hunter.
I think
or Hunter
around
X.
there.
Fuck it, Hunter x Hunter. I'll pronounce it correctly.
Hunter x Hunter, Hunter.
I didn't realize it was like the X was supposed to be a space in the title until like I rewatched the second time and I told somebody like, don't you mean Hunter x Hunter? I was like, fuck you. That's the takeaway from what I told you.
The 2011.
Yeah, it's gonna be episodes, Scott. It's gotta be like 130, 115.
It's down 130, 148, 148.
Yeah, 148. Okay, yeah. So I
Thank God they stopped it where they did. Honestly, I think in terms of
Well, they fully adapted like all the completed arcs, which was the best call. Madhouse killed that series. And yeah, I mean, I watched Hunter. So yeah, I've gone through it like 2-3 times, and my friend is like a new anime fan because he's got an addictive personality and he can just binge shit. And so he's going through like IMDb's list of like top 10 anime, which I don't think is really a good metric for best anime. It's probably just the most well-known anime. And so he's just going like series. So he just did Hunter x Hunter, and he said he loved it. I mean, Chimera Ant arc drags for a lot of people because like if you binge it, I can see why it's so long. But it's got some pretty solid series. Like what? Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. He's watching that right now.
yeah. How about you just want to go through this list for a bit and just see like what's up with it? Because honestly, from the first few ones, This
Yeah,
looks
I mean, it's
pretty
the most
promising.
popular series and like maybe like popularly acclaimed series. There's definitely so many other good ones out there, and I probably disagree with some of the series I see on here already. Like this is by no means a metric for like the best anime out there. This is just like the most popular anime that also gets some like, acclaim. I mean, what number one's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
I say we do a full video on this list another time because there's a lot actually to cover. But
Yeah, no, that's like a full list. I mean, my anime list is probably the best metric in my opinion because it doesn't just rate by popularity. Because there's like most popular, which has like all the ratings, and then it's like top rated, and you can go from there. And obviously, no matter what, there's always gonna be a trend towards like the most well-known ones because that's the most people to rate it. And also, you know, when they're acclaimed and they're popular, they probably also get rated higher. I think Fullmetal Alchemist.
I generally don't tend to look for things that are more popular because sometimes it's just not something that's particularly good. It's just something that is just more widely accepted as popular. Like
I think it's just more palatable. That's really it.
The fact that, for example, Sword Art Online keeps getting way more awards than some other like more sophisticated animes.
Yeah.
It shows that like it's not that one is bad, one is better. It's that one is way more popular because it's so much more accessible. Like you compare two completely different shows, for example, like Sword Art Online and let's say Monster. Completely different, right? Of course there would be a wide shift in which one would be more popular because this one doesn't even feel like an anime. It feels like an actual TV show.
No, Monster's paced and created like a live action drama. That's Monster. I'm surprised Monster never got an adaptation to like a TV show. Like Benicio del Toro.
It would be perfect for
Benicio del Toro. Like I think the early 2000s was trying to get it made. And
what?
Yeah, and it never happened. You can look it up. Benicio del Toro was trying to get behind it, and it just never got going. But like Monster, it doesn't have like any fantastical elements. It's just a really human story. But like Sword Art Online is like so easily accessible, and honestly, it gets a lot of undue hate for the first season because I thought the first season was actually a decent show, and then it kind of like devolved into like other tropes. Like the second season was so bad.
Like it's the typical like power fantasy escapism.
Yeah, it's all escapism.
That kind of
like,
and again, that's tags that will make it inherently more popular than some animes that I consider to be more worthy investing because of their story. And that's why I generally tend to shy away from popular
I get where you're coming from.
animes, even though sometimes they are rightfully popular.
Yeah, but also, like, Sword Art Online was, like, the first mainstream isekai anime to come out. Like,
In the beginning.
Dude, what a fucking trend.
How many isekais are there, like, per season? At least 3 or 4.
It's gotten so bad that there's all these garbage ones, and they always have the worst titles. Like, everyone has the craziest title. Like, pull up Konosuba's full title or something. Like, all these, like, they have, run. I don't know if it's a Japanese to English translation problem, but they just don't stop. The titles are like, the story of a boy that fell through a wall and wound up in another world with, like, a sword and a cane.
Konosuba, God's blessing on this wonderful world.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Dude, it's ridiculous.
Konosuba
is also the abbreviation, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, most likely. The time I got reincarnated as a slime, although that's a pretty good...
Yeah, there's like, I'm a spider, so what? But like, Isekai obviously has been around a lot longer than that. But Sword Art Online was the starter, and Isekai's been going on for years. I mean, after Sword Art Online was like Log Horizon.
I would say that it's different, though.
No, it's an isekai anime.
It's like the concept of escapism is very much
kind of like
a
Ready
core
Player
of
One.
isekai. But they're trapped in a virtual world. They don't die and completely move on to another world.
No, I mean the whole point of season 1 is that you're trapped in this virtual reality game, and if you die, like your
you
HP
can't
gets
get
depleted,
out.
then you die. Like you actually just die, and you can't leave the game.
I think it's in a gray area of sorts because
They come back. I mean,
they are trapped, but they can come back.
Yeah, I mean, after season 1, I mean, spoilers for everybody that hasn't watched the anime that came out 10 years ago, but, you know, they do get out, but at the same point in time, like, the stakes are raised to the value that your life is on the line, which is all these isekai are like that. And now it's not even, like, an isekai plot where it's like, oh, like, you get transported to, like, a new... I don't know, that's just the crazy genre that it is. Like, it always ends up with, like, you know, Truck-kun, like, someone gets hit by a truck at the beginning, someone gets stabbed and dies, some, like... crazy immediate violence of this
Falls
character.
in front of a train.
Yeah, anything. And then they end up in a new world immediately, so you don't have any idea what the other person was like based on like minor flashbacks that you get later on. And I don't know, it just becomes so generic. Do you know what Moe is?
I don't watch almost any Moe anime.
Yeah, but like the early 2000s to the early 2010s, like
There's a
2010,
popularity boom like with
that,
every season. Though.
Yeah, that's a decade. Like Moe is like that QR form where it's just like rounded lines, like soft like emotions and stuff like that, and it's all like kind of slice of life. And dude, K-On, like all those anime that came out back then and still have popularity to this day, all those like magical girl anime, all that stuff like that. There was like 3 or 4 every season. It was so saturated, and so like isekai's gotten so crazy with that. It's like the new flavor, but eventually it switches. I wonder what the next trend's gonna be. And there's nothing even inherently wrong with an isekai story, because it could be done so well.
I'm trying to find that one. It looks like Moe anime, but it's not really. It's those 2 cute girls, but
Madoka Magica?
no, like it's drawn in that very cutesy art style, but it goes very quick to them.
Penny and Stalking?
No, to them just being like angry and stuff. It's really funny, but I forget. It's something with Pop.
You're gonna toss me a bone here, dude.
Not Agretzko. It's.
I never watched Agretzko.
It's in the style of this.
Oh, Chibi?
It's in the style of like Chibi thing, but like very much aware of itself. And a little bit more violent.
Yeah.
Like they
I'll
actually,
put
like,
you on. I'll put you onto an anime. If it was made by Gainax, Penny and Stalking. It was like the last good anime that Gainax did. So it's drawn more like a Western cartoon, and it's just like these 2 beings, like angels sent from heaven, that are come down to earth, supposed to do good deeds, but they just commit crimes, don't do any work, and then like one of them's an alcoholic that just like sleeps around, and then the other one's like uber violent, and then there's like a priest, but the priest is like an immortal being that was like, it has a BDSM fetish, but it's all like cartoonized form and it's ridiculous. It's so funny. It's all told through a comedy. It's not like very deep or dark. I mean, it actually gets really deep or dark. I gotta rewatch it because it's more like I put that closer to an Adult Swim than an anime in terms of the style. It's like a really weird project by Gainax, but Gainax has always been a really weird studio, and now they're Trigger.
Studio Trigger. They keep making shows that I start watching and then I stop.
I remember when Kill la Kill came out.
No, World Trigger. World Trigger?
Yeah, World Trigger's not. I don't think they're made by. Actually, no, they might actually be made by Studio Trigger.
It's made by Studio Trigger because I
read that manga for a while, like up to 120 chapters. I basically caught up to it to a certain point.
Nothing happens.
No, it's really boring.
Nothing happens. I keep watching it because like I'm like, okay, this is like promising fight scenes, and they're always teasing at character progression, but then nothing. So I just keep giving up on it.
Yeah, no, it's not that great in my opinion. But the fans that like it really like it, and I'm just like, maybe that was your first series, and that was your entry.
What?
World Trigger never caught me. Studio Trigger has some really good anime. Like, did you ever watch Kill la Kill?
Yeah.
Kill la Kill was great, and that was their first start. I remember when Kill la Kill came out, people liked it so much that when it was releasing, because at this point in time, like shows weren't being released to Western audiences like at the same time it was being released in Japan, and so these fans would sub it. And when they would release the fan subs, they got so crazy that they were doing these amazing edits into like introductions and titles, and they would actually edit it into the anime itself rather than just like a regular subtitle you see on Netflix. It was way too much attention to detail and stuff to ever do that like a studio would release or anything like that. But you have to look it up because these gifts are crazy. Kill la Kill was great. When did that come out?
Kill la Kill came out
2012.
Well over. It's been almost a full decade, I think. But it was definitely one of them.
That's a balls to the wall anime.
That and Gurren Lagann have like that very like.
Yeah, well, wasn't Gurren Lagann made by Gainax? Or they Madhouse?
Might have been Madhouse. Wait, Kill la Kill anime.
2014? 2015.
2014, 2015, yeah.
Yeah, wow. So it was about 8 years ago.
keep forgetting
Damn,
that.
I remember when that came out. That was so good. That was a fun weekly watch too, because that's a lot. That's a mind melt to run through. that show's a mind melt. It's a great. Trigger had like they popped off with that. That was their first anime to come out from Studio Trigger. It was mostly ex Gainax staff when Gainax fell apart.
I just realized they also produced 2 of the Star Wars anime episodes that came out.
How are those? I haven't watched them.
They depend. Not every episode is as good as the other, but the 2 that they did, the twins and the Elder is a really cool one, where they just show like this old Sith dude. It's pretty cool. I'll show you a clip.
I'm surprised
later.
there's not more animation work done with Star Wars. I mean, Clone Wars is fun, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy. Like, of the new generation movies, I watched Rebel 1, which was actually really good, but nothing else ever pulled me in, and I kind of sporadically watched like the original trilogy, and then like the 3 movies that came out in the early 2000s.
The original trilogy I adore from a perspective of just pure filmmaking and storytelling. And
George Lucas is an animal. There's a reason why.
You see some of the behind the footage and the miniature scales that they would have, and the way that they would have all these practical effects, and it's just really wonderful cinema.
That's
it's just
magic.
really good filmmaking. Like compared to the oversaturated CGI, and like good, well developed, good CGI makes for like really good moments in movies. But when you only rely on that, I think you lose something kind of wonderful about like how they used to make these movies. But yeah, the original trilogy, in terms of that, I really appreciate. The prequels, the dialogues and everything are a mess. It's very oversaturated with CGI. I love them mostly for just the sheer amount of memes.
That's the reason why I think people have love for them. I think memes has been the best thing for them.
They were the first Star Wars that I watched when I was a kid, so like I never cared like about like, oh, you know, like Star Wars used to be good, now it's this. To me, it was, oh, this is the first 3 episodes, and then I saw the original trilogy, and I'm like, holy shit, that is really cool. And then Disney came along and just decided to just nuke the entire saga.
Disney.
They just, I don't know, there's just something about these big companies that like taking these beloved stories and running them to the ground. It happens with almost every single one. It happens with Star Wars, Terminator, Alien,
I just
Terminator.
don't think you should put suits in charge of a movie. And I think that's what happens when you have these movies that get hundreds of millions of dollars behind them, both in budget and then in marketing. And then you end up with, you know, these movies that are not supposed to offend anybody, and also they're not supposed to like excite anybody either. Like it's
just about making more money.
It's like how can we reduce, you know, the amount of people that won't watch this? Like I want to see the maximum amount of people and be palatable for the most amount of people. And I feel like when you put that type of like motif into the heart of your creation, you're gonna end up with something that's like, okay, this is entertaining, I suppose, but like this isn't true to the spirit of the creation. Like not everything is gonna turn everybody onto something.
Dude,
there's a reason why like the original trilogy were loved by sci-fi fans, but they were obviously popular, but there was also not a lot of people that got into Star Wars like that. Like, didn't Star Wars start off as a cult hit? Did it start off as like a mainstream like supermarket success at the beginning? Because I'm pretty sure the original trilogy didn't make their money back until later on. Yeah. I could be talking out of my ass here, though.
I think that it did generate like a pretty big fan base relatively fast, but I would know because I didn't live through those events.
I mean, we're talking about movies.
But considering like the culture, the following that it has over the decades, and just the sheer amount of people that it has amassed, like they have like there's a reason why it got sold and resold for billions. There's a reason why.
I mean, well, George Lucas is a billionaire.
Yeah, here we go. George Lucas's ex-wife, Marcia Lucas, who worked extensively on the original trilogy, on editing, on all of these.
Oh, really?
Like heavily invested in Star Wars. Many people have said that without her, the original trilogy wouldn't have been like as good, because like she did a lot of like the fine-tuning and the editing and talking to George about ideas and things about the script.
Editing is like,
it's a lot.
If you know
good editing, you can take a shitty project and turn it into something good.
If it's like, it's so understated though, like That's like a technical aspect of filmmaking that I feel like sometimes goes like untold, because a lot of that movie stuff, especially prior to like CGI and stuff like that, editing is what you needed for suspension of belief. You were gonna have all that crazy stuff, but you did bring up. Well, actually, finish your story because I do have something to say about.
Oh yeah, no
CG in movies.
Yeah, no. She basically came out and said about the new Disney Star Wars trilogy that they don't get it. They don't get Star Wars. They don't understand what makes it so good. They don't understand what made it appealing. They only care about money and just throwing in characters that people can latch on their identities to and stuff. And like, this is not just the ex-wife of the very same person who created this entire saga to begin with.
I mean, she was at the inception.
But someone who knows a lot about the particular vision and what made it successful in the first place. And so when someone like that says something like that about this new trilogy, like how many of these like fans can really say like, oh, like you just don't like it because it's like, you know,
I don't know. I think it's just corporate. That's the only problem.
It is. It's disgustingly corporate, and it happens with so many shows, and it upsets me.
Yeah, but you know what though? You said that CG in like a lot of movies. Some movies you can't make without them though, like Avatar. Not The Last Airbender, the movie, because that was garbage.
What are you talking about? That movie's genius.
It's fucking awful, but the one movie that I loved. Have you ever watched or you know Battle Angel Alita, the one James Cameron made, is adapted from a manga. I don't know if I ever got an anime.
Oh, Alita Battle Angel.
Oh, is it Battle Angel Alita?
I think it's Alita Battle Angel.
Okay, well,
but that might just be
one way or another. No, because it does have like that title. I just probably flipped it.
You know, I remember seeing that. Like, that's good CGI.
Dude, no, have you ever watched it though?
Yeah.
Because I watched it on a plane and it looked great, and then I rewatched it and it was fucking phenomenal.
I wish I saw it on like a big cinema, but I saw it.
I know, because that movie you're supposed to watch in 3D. Like, actually, that movie's supposed to be watched in 3D. And if I ever have enough fuck you money to rent a theater and like choose a 3D movie, if you're able to do that anymore, I would totally put that movie on because I missed it the first time and it drove me crazy. Dude, it's so good. Have you read the manga though?
No, but I want to now.
Oh,
I've seen
that
it. I've seen it on
that manga is great.
in Barnes and Noble. It has some like pretty thick volumes.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, it's. So you watch the movie. Movie doesn't
add it to my collection.
Dude, I have to get it myself. The movie doesn't even cover like a smidge of the plot. There's so much world building and lore that comes in after, and great story pieces that come in from like Alita. Even like immediately after the movie is so good, and there's so many twists and turns, and it gets to such a crazy scale that you just can't believe it. Alita actually goes through like 3 full story arcs. And now they're doing like a prequel, but anything I say is gonna be spoilers. And I love this series so much because I never knew about it. I just stumbled across it, and then the more I read, the more I realized, oh, there's more that comes after this. And I fucking went through. I don't know how many volumes. Great sci-fi manga.
I think that is like
Also a great movie. Watch the movie too.
I think that's what a good adaptation should also do. It should open curiosity for the original source material.
But most anime are advertisements for the source material.
Like the entire Akira movie. Like the way I see Akira.
I just say Akira, bro. I'm not that fancy. I do say manga though. I don't say manga.
Yeah, manga.
Yeah,
my silly accent.
But I mean,
acting
like,
up
you don't say anime. You say anime.
Anime. I'm gonna start saying it now just to piss you off.
Fuck that.
So you have the Akira anime and you have the Akira manga, right? And to me, you get the entire story from the manga. Actually, not just from me. That's how it is.
I mean, yeah.
Because
that's the actual material.
Yeah, because the anime movie just didn't have enough time to cram all of that in, so
I thought they did a good job.
They did a good job at grabbing the core concepts of, well, the core concepts of Akira, which is an entire video unto itself. But they took these core concepts and they were able to make a brilliant animated movie that revolutionized the entire anime industry, and that is quite something.
Dude, that movie's phenomenal.
And so, but many people watch it and they're like, I'm confused. Like I understand a little bit.
You feel like there should be more there,
but there should be more, and there is. There's an entire manga series to that,
it's
and
not
you
that much,
read
though.
that. Yeah, it's only 6 volumes, each one like this much, and it's not a lot of reading. I read one in like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really not that much.
The art in the manga is great too, though.
It really is good. It really is good. Like you see one of the characters literally like blow up a chunk of the moon within a few pages, and you see how it affects the world in those same pages.
That's pretty dope.
And I'm like, you have all of this cool graphic like events depicted within a few pages. That is excellent storytelling and art. But basically, the point that I'm trying to get to is people who watch movies based on longer things, such as Akira.
You're just talking about adaptations. I know what you mean.
Or Battle Angel.
Yeah, but even bring it to like mainstream Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Harry Potter's like, go read the books if you want like the little bits of lore and stuff.
Yeah, like here is a taste of the story. Here is like the animation part of it. And if you want the full animated story for yourself, you have the manga that you can go and find. And yeah.
I mean, but that's why, like that's why anime originally get made for most time is just like a popular manga series, and then to drive more people to a manga, they adapt like an arc, like the first 40 something chapters or whatever into an anime. And once the anime ends, it's not like they immediately have like more projects lined up to fully adapt it. It just kind of ends. It's like, if you want to see more, go read the manga, and then if the anime itself becomes a commercial success, and then you greenlight a second season. But how many times have there been great manga that get one season
and just never,
and then it doesn't go any more than that? But there's tens, if not hundreds, of chapters of material afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So, anime is great by itself because there's some like individual creations. Like Space Dandy was not based off of anything.
Any of Watanabe is Space Dandy, Samurai
Terran Resonance.
Oof, you just
that was a great series. Cowboy Bebop is the most popular
series.
one. That was
I'm rewatching it now with my friends in New York.
I don't think I ever finished Bebop. I got to like episode 17. I think I literally was binging it, and sometimes when it happens to me, I don't know if it's happened to anybody else, but it definitely does. Anyways, when like I'm watching something and I know it's about to end, but I'm enjoying it so much, and I'm not ready for like that crater that's left in your chest after you finish like a beloved series or book or something. And so then I was like, all right, cool, I'll just put it down, pick it back up tomorrow. And I just never picked it back up. So I'm just going to rewatch it again.
Dude, here's the thing. That crater that you mentioned is very much a self-aware part of Cowboy Bebop's narrative. You know how at the end of every episode, it leaves off like a line at the end, like, see you, Space Cowboy.
Yeah, Bebop's like really melancholic.
Yeah, like one of the biggest themes is you're going to have to carry that weight.
Yeah.
And it's what's it called? Like I read it as when you finish the story, now all of the events that transpired, all of the stories that you went through with the characters, all the progression, all their experiences, like that's like you're gonna carry them with you. And
I mean, that's
like,
a good story.
Every time I finish it, I'm like, oh my god, like I don't smoke. But it's one of the only shows that makes me think like I need a cigarette after the finale.
Peaky Blinder gets me. Peaky Blinders, when I watch it.
How many cigarettes do they smoke?
Oh, it's disgusting. Someone definitely keeps count. There's no way to actually smoke real cigarettes because they chain smoke them. But with me and my friends, when Peaky Blinders was airing, I'm still waiting for like the last season to come out. But we were like, yo, let's get a bottle of whiskey and a pack of cigarettes and just fucking torch through it. As we watch Peaky Blinders while it's airing, dude, that'd be fucking great. I would do that.
It says that the cast gets through about 5,000 cigarettes during each series of the program, and Cillian Murphy's character gets through about 1,000 alone. Mm-hmm. He smokes in basically every shot. But
they always have a cigarette.
They are herbal cigarettes, don't contain nicotine, but they don't taste well. They taste so bad. Just imagine you have to smoke hundreds of these during the day.
I don't know. I like bitter tasting stuff. I can't imagine bitter smoke being that much worse.
I mean, you can definitely... Like,
I mean, how much worse can it taste compared to a cigarette?
Definitely, yeah.
Honestly, it can't taste much worse. So, I mean, I think just actors bitching and moaning.
I don't like cigarettes. I do like cigars though.
I mean, well, cigars are like a different experience. That's like a social thing. I mean, even smoking cigs together in a circle can be one thing. But like when you have a cigar, you shouldn't be inhaling it unless you're trying to catch like the head rush and the throat cold of your life.
Did I tell you about my first cigar experience?
Nah, tell me you puffed the whole thing and you just inhaled the entire cigar.
So I was with my best friend in Germany. His mom got a Cuban cigar, and we were on this rooftop somewhere. And we didn't have anything to actually cut it with. We didn't have a proper light. We were so unprepared.
Tell me you butchered the cigar too.
We fucked it. We probably cut it off on the wrong end both times. Like we cut it off like the actual side, and then we're like, oh, we gotta cut off the other side.
And then
so
you cut the cut side?
We cut both sides.
Well, I mean, if it's like it shouldn't be cut at the front.
I know.
So you recut it?
We recut both. We recut the side that was already cut, and then
Gross.
cut. Yes, and then we were like 14. 14.
Who's smoking Stokes at 14, bro? Just cigarettes like regular kids.
I'm not a smoker, right? What can I say? But we have it. We do that, and we light it, and we inhale it. Like we smoke half of it, and we've been inhaling the entire time, just actually puffing it and just dying and just coughing and
dude.
being like, people enjoy this. Like, what is wrong with it? And we didn't realize until years later that you're only supposed to hold it in your mouth.
Yeah, you just puff.
Like,
Dude, you
no,
probably
we
woke up-
actually like.
Yeah, that's fucking
It was
disgusting.
bad. Like I couldn't talk for a while.
You definitely woke up next day just like, my name is Clarice. Fuck that. That's disgusting. I remember when I was like 10 years old overseas, my cousin pulled like a cigarette up off the ground. I probably was even 10. I was probably more like 8 or 7. And my cousin was like 8 or 9. And he just found like a cigarette butt. We're in fucking the Balkans in Macedonia at a village. And he just like, yo, like, here, let's smoke a cigarette. And so he lit it up and he started smoking the cigarette. And he just passed it to me and I was like, okay. So I tried it. I was like, this tastes like shit. And I gave it back to him. But that was the first time I ever tried a cigarette.
Dude,
Don't try them at that age. Or ever.
I never started smoking like habitually ever, but there was a brief span of a few days, like 4 years ago, when I was in Greece. I was in Skiathos with my brother and a bunch of friends, and for some reason I just started buying these packs of these like menthol cigarettes that you would break, like this.
Oh, the crushes? Like
yeah,
Crush?
yeah,
Those-
you crush like a ball inside the filter, and it has like this
Flavor.
flavor
Yeah.
that taste. I went through a pack a day.
That's disgusting.
I would go to a
Adrian.
club. I would be at the club, and I would
Cigarettes?
smoke cigarette after
Not gonna lie.
cigarette,
Not gonna
after
lie.
cigarette after cigarette, just
Mhm.
constantly. Like it had a nice taste,
When you're drinking,
You know?
when you're drinking a cigarette, it puts the icing on top.
dude.
I don't know what it's about it. When you're rocking a clean buzz, you're drunk, and someone has a pack of cigarettes,
I was
I wouldn't say no.
I was
I wouldn't
vibing,
say
you
no.
know, and like absolutely, like the days after, like my throat, like I would
I mean, that should
completely
catch
regretted
that too.
it.
When me and George were living at Rutgers freshman year, we were like in the freshman tower, and our freshman tower also had like all the foreign exchange kids, mostly were Chinese guys and girls, and they brought suitcases of these flavored cigarettes. And like these nice cigarettes, you crush them and it tastes like banana, and you crush it, and then you crush like a second layer, and it tastes like mandarin or orange or something.
What the fuck?
And I was like, this is next level technology. I mean, this is what you guys are smoking? You're not smoking just like Reds or something? I mean, like by me in the Balkans, you know, there's three
whatever
things,
you have.
There's 3 things that change civilization there. Some say for better, some say for worse. You know, first is electricity, 2 is the automobile, and you know, number 3, some say most of all, the Marlboro Red. You know, there's not a lot of gifts you can give a man that make him emotional over there, but like you go to a wedding and you bring them like a card of Marlboros, I swear to God, you see a grown man shed a tear.
Thank you.
But that's just the culture. I mean, people still smoke inside over there. You go to a cafe, or like, you know, we call it a cafe. You just go over there to hang out, and everybody's just in there ripping darts. It's just a cultural thing. It's so different. Europe, people don't realize how many cigarettes are smoked in Europe still.
Oh yeah. Like,
You know what I mean?
just the sheer amount of people that I see smoking in Greece, like, just rolling cigarette after cigarette after cigarette, just
Yeah, that's OG though.
just for passing the time. It's very much just like vibing. But again, I don't smoke, so I'm just sitting there, just watching all these people just smoke for like
Well, it becomes
hours.
a social thing. Yeah.
It does become, but I don't partake in the social aspect of it. So I'm just sitting there, just being like, "Hey." But yeah, but
Yeah,
that
secondhand is
time-
just as bad as smoking, anyways.
But
You
yeah.
get fucking crop dusted
Dude,
when you hang out in a circle.
yeah.
There's no matter which way you stand, you just get coated in that smoke.
It's
whether you
the
want to or
first.
not.
It's the first law of smoking. The smoke always goes towards the non-smoker. I actually tested this.
It travels. It will
I
find you.
kept shifting. I kept changing the direction
It
of where I
will
was
find
sitting. Quite literally taking into consideration the wind, all of this shit. No matter where I went, it would follow me.
Mm-hmm.
The smoke knows. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's not much left in anyways.
There's this expression that I really like in Greek that I don't know if it translates well into English.
Give it a shot.
But may you have its refreshness. Definitely not.
No,
It's
that doesn't-
it's,
that
it's
doesn't
like
sound that
it's
well.
like when a Greek person brings a drink or water or a refreshment
It's just
or
enjoy
something,
it.
and it's like it's a nice thing that they say, like την δροσιά του να έχεις, like
Enjoy the refreshments.
no, for you to have like its refreshingness, for you to be as refreshing,
As the drink.
as enjoyable as the drink that you are bringing.
Yeah.
And I find that to be like such a nice expression.
Yeah.
Like την
That's
δροσιά του
interesting.
να έχεις. Like I like what's it called? Like when a chef prepares something great, you're like, oh, mwah. It's kind of like saying, oh, like it's as delicious as you, or like fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty poetic.
You know, it's very poetic. It's very sincere. And I'm like, man, like I've only talked Greek like 3 times total since I've been back.
Yeah, it gets rusty, bro.
One was with my dad. One was here with my mom and my brother, and one was with this Greek dude that I met during my program. That was the only time that I was able to speak Greek.
Isn't this so nice, though?
It's so nice. It just flows right off the tongue, and I get excited, and I
Feels like
speak
home.
like a lot faster. And again, some of these expressions that I just can't say in English that
Well,
I just miss.
that's cultural and linguistic barriers. It happens with any language. Like the amount of things I learned when I was learning Spanish with the guys in the restaurant that would translate over to I would never say them in English, and also it just loses some of the taste. I mean, even in like Albanian, like when people go to eat, you know, you say "bofmir," like, you know, like be well, hopefully, you know, enjoy it, and it doesn't translate that
They
well.
don't have this in the English language. They have enjoy,
Yeah,
but that's more of a command than a let's enjoy this food together.
yeah,
No,
but
it's
it
not-
depends
it's not
on
like a
where, because you have like
cheers.
grace associated with the English language and stuff like that. But that's more of like a religious thing than it is like a linguistic thing.
Like they don't have like a bon appetit, like
It's just enjoy.
it's just enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure there's a word that we're missing, but you know, everything, the core essence of everything, kind of just boils down to enjoy this meal.
English is
you know
a very practical language.
what I mean?
Like
not really, bro. Try learning English as like a second language.
Like out of the 4 languages that I speak, English is the one that I can most easily formulate simple ideas. I can formulate complex ideas into simple words.
Because the vocabulary of English is ridiculously massive.
That's
You
what
can
I'm
make
saying.
whatever
It's
sentence you want.
big, and depending on the context that you can use it, it's very practical and simplified compared to some of these other languages. For example, like Greek,
Yeah.
where to get to one point, I might need to have all of this more linguistic and vocabulary like effort. Whereas in English, I can probably explain the same idea much faster, much more condensed.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the language itself is really logical, though. I mean, if you look at grammar, and then you also just look at the fact that, like, you know, English is the birth of Germanic clashing with, like, Old English, right? And that forms the English language that we know today. And so you have, like, 2 conflicting grammars coming in, and then you end up with this weird-ass language. And English has so many different ways to say the same thing anyways. So I get what you're saying. Your other 2 are what, French and German?
Yeah, French, German, and Greek.
Got me lagging. I only speak 3.
I still want to learn Spanish and Italian. Probably
I love knowing
Italian
Spanish.
next.
Spanish gets me so much. Like when I was in, well, like one was in Barcelona, that was fine. But when I was in Miami, I swear to God, I didn't speak any English when I was using a utility. Every Uber driver, Spanish. You open the door, hola, ¿cómo estamos? You know, bienvenidos a Miami. And I'm like, hi, you know, me llamo Latin, ¿cómo estás? And all of a sudden, you know, we go into this combo and then they're like, how do you know Spanish? I was like, I'm just a white boy, picked up Spanish. I don't know, I liked it a lot. It gets me so much further. They love it.
Dude, like if you
That was fun.
know how to speak Spanish, you can travel to like a third.
Think about how much of the world opens up, dude. Yeah.
All of South America, Spain, many places around the U.S. that
Yeah.
have.
It depends
Spanish-speaking
what you learn
communities.
though, because think of like Spanish is used so well. It's just like with any other language that when it gets that big and regional, it's dialects everywhere. So like some Spanish, like from South America, I think like, well,
Oh,
like
most
you'll hear from Colombians first and foremost. Like Colombian is like the truest Spanish spoken in South America, and then you have like other dialects. They say like Mexican is like the Mexican Spanish is spoken like lower, quicker. Way faster, and then you have others like Argentina has a lot of slang, stuff like that. So it's all local. I mean, even in America, we got the southern accent, the northeastern accent, all the northeastern accents.
Man, even in Greece, we got those.
Yeah,
It's a lot like more condensed because we're a smaller country, but it has a noticeable difference. Like there's entire memes about different.
yeah. Well, I mean, this like I can't understand. So I speak Albanian, but I speak the Geg dialect of Albanian. There's also a Tosk dialect Albanian. Those are like the two central dialects. And if I'm speaking with someone that speaks Tosk, they pick up like 80% of what I say. If someone that's speaking Tosk to me, I'm getting like 20 at best. 20 is like giving myself a lot of credit. I'm picking up probably like 15%. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? It's the same language, but it's just the way the dialect goes is that I got such a little clue in what they're saying, but a lot of the stuff that I say, they get. You know what I mean? It also depends regionally, because you're not going to see Tosk and Geg in the same spots unless it's like a melting pot.
Have you ever interacted with a person from speaking a language that you do not know whatsoever, but are able to understand kind of what they're saying?
I mean, sometimes like for like specific words and stuff like that, but like, I mean, you can pick up stuff off social cues, like their inflection and context, I guess, like that using body language.
Because
But I don't ever hear another language. I'm like, I know what they're saying. No.
it happened to me at a few times, but there's one specific instance which is just very memorable to me.
But you also remember, you speak a lot of romantic languages, so you probably can
I
pick
think
up
that
on
might
other
also
stuff.
be part of it.
Like Spanish, you know.
No,
Spanish,
this was
English, and
this
stuff like
was
that. What languages is that?
Hungarian. This was
Yeah,
I was in
fucking
Budapest.
close. That's not romantic.
Yeah, no, I was in.
Isn't that Cyrillic?
I don't know, but I was in Budapest with my choir, and out of 100 kids, I was the only one that was actually having fun throughout the entire trip, and like they hated me for it. Like out of 100 kids, I could only get along with like 2 people.
Think about how many people though that, especially Americans. Like a lot of Americans, I mean, there's really not an impetus to learn more than one language here. So imagine the amount of times like they've been forced to deal with people that only speak this language and not English. It's probably frustrating, and too, like, it's something that's probably so uncommon. They're probably just like, oh, they should just learn English. That's just the way of doing things here in America.
But it was a fun and chaotic trip. I'll talk more about it during another episode.
Mhm.
But basically, after this one concert in Budapest, we walked out, and this old grandma came up to me and started speaking in Hungarian, like very, very fast, very thing. Couldn't understand a word she was saying at first, but she was like looking at me and just like gesturing at my friends.
Well, yeah, that's picking up social
Yeah.
cues, bro.
And all my friends just like leave, and I'm like, no, like I wanna hear what this grandma has to say. And so I
Because it's not like it's unintelligent. So many people, you know how when someone's speaking a second language and they're trying to explain a concept and they're struggling just because it's not their first language and they're not yet like fluent speaker in it, and people like connotate that with like a level of sub-intelligence. They're just like, oh, this
So
person's
stupid.
not that smart. They view that person as stupid. But I'm like, dude, this guy's talking to you through a fucking filter.
Like
Like, how
anyone
good of
that
him
has
to
the
try-
guts to talk in a language that they're not fluent in, and
Oh my
that
God.
put themselves forward and like put themselves at risk of like being made fun at because of an accent or something. Like whenever someone actually makes fun of someone just for speaking, I'm like, motherfucker.
That's how I learned Spanish. Spanish was, I went up to level 5 in like AP in the US. I went up to level 5, so I was taking collegiate Spanish in my senior year. And I got to Spanish too. I skipped it because I took Spanish like all 4 years of elementary or middle school. Didn't learn a lick. They dropped me off into accelerated Spanish 2. I didn't know shit. I bombed like the first 4 quizzes. My teacher was like, I'm gonna drop you. And she was just like, you should probably drop down to Spanish 1. And I was like, no. Let me stick with it. I was like, I don't know why. 'Cause it hurt my pride. I was like, let me stick with it. I was like, we're gonna do this. So I would stay with her after school all the time. We would go over grammar, conjunctives, and stuff like that. I get through that. Honestly, I still see her in my dreams. It was Miss Blair. And whenever I really dream about teachers and stuff, she was obsessed with pigs. Like, had little stuffed pigs, pig posters, pig graphics. A weird fetish. I don't know. Loved pigs. And whenever she would pull up in a dream, she's always holding like a teacup pig. It's like the weirdest fucking subconscious thing associated.
She's burned herself.
Any dream I
into your
have that's in
unconscious.
Spanish, she's in the dream. Always.
Oh my god, she haunts
Yeah.
she haunts your Spanish dreams.
Yeah, and so once I got to level 5 was when we were like, okay guys, you know, you learned how to write, you learned how to read, you learned grammar, but none of you guys know how to fucking talk in Spanish, which is a problem in how they teach language in the US. That aside,
They
though,
teach all the practical aspects of it that you can read, write, and like
yeah, but that's not how you apply language.
think, but they never know how to actually communicate.
Exactly. So what's the point of learning it? So I'm lucky that at my restaurant we have a lot of workers that spoke Spanish. And so when I was working at the restaurant my senior year in high school, and I was also taking high-level Spanish, I would just take the Spanish I learned, all the grammar, vocabulary, and I would just use it there. And, you know, fortunately everybody was patient with me. And I'd be like, guys, listen, when I fuck up, don't just nod and be like, yeah. I was like, I don't give a fuck about that. I was like, I want to learn. And the only way I'm going to learn is if you let me know if I'm wrong. And so that's how I just learned how to speak, how to formulate my thoughts in it, how to come quick with it, string together sentences, use grammar, a lot more casual talk, talking shit, everything like that. And that's the way I picked up the language. If it wasn't for that...
That's how you can actually have a conversation with someone.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be able to read and write fluently in Spanish. I would definitely have to immerse myself again. But if you drop me off, like when I was in Colombia, my Spanish was fine at the start, but by the end of it, like, I was sharp. Like, sharp.
That's me whenever I go back to like Germany or Vienna, because I barely speak German at all, because there's just almost no one for me to speak German with.
Is German spoken in Austria? In Austria, or is it like an Austrian dialect of German?
No, it's
just German.
It's just German. It's just German. Maybe with a few differences, but to me, it's basically the same.
Don't you love it when they just take like German words and put them in anime just to make things seem like cooler and more foreign? Like when someone has like a superpower, it's never just like a Japanese word. Especially like in shonen, like all the popular ones are like more global. It's just like a random ass like German term. It'll be like Vorgenstrugen. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like this character has never been depicted as German or anything like that. Their powers are all just named in German.
And then you have fucking F-Goku.
From Bardock?
F-Goku.
That was a fucking mind melt. I can't believe. So the reason why I brought it up, Marduk Scramble, when we watched the first movie last time, was because I remember I saw like I read a review. I didn't even watch the movie. I read a review of it. It's an anime movie, and I read of the second movie, and it had like a picture of like some weird anthropomorphic creature dealing poker cards. And I was like, this looks kind of sick. I was like, never got around to watching it. And so when we were like, yo, let's watch a movie before the Tyson Fury fight. Great fight, by the way.
Oof, we should talk about that. Yeah,
we should, but. So I was like, all right, let's watch this, because I've always been reading to get around to it. It never happened. And you know, like the CGI and all that stuff's dated, but like the core animation was great.
Dude, the beginning part was actually incredible. I was immersed in it.
That shit was traumatic. That shit starts off so heavy. It's about like a girl that goes through like all these different abuses, from like being sold into slavery, like sexual abuse, all this crazy stuff and heavy topics.
And then gets reborn after fucking dying to this.
Yeah, that caught me so off guard, where it got like super poetic, because it starts off so brutal and you're supposed to experience her trauma first and foremost, and it's supposed to be your first view of this character, and then it gets to this point where it literally like burns alive, conflagration, and then gets reborn through this process into a new body with new power, and is able to take agency over herself and like actually learn how to function as a human being.
Like there was a lot of powerful commentary in general also about like the shit that women just go through under this kind of system.
Yeah, it was absurd. Those names, Ufkokyu, what was the other? Ufkokyu was like the mouse that was like anthropomorphic, like 500 IQ. What was the other guy's name?
I forgot.
The names in that anime were absurd.
Quite. Oh my god, but wait, yeah.
I like that better than just taking like random language names and stuff like that and just inserting. I'd rather just have it. If you're gonna go balls to the wall, like ridiculous, you might as well crank the shit up to 11 and make everything ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. You gotta be confident with the choices that you pick, cause like it's one thing if you name just one or two characters with like a bizarre name. If you name every character, fucking I don't know, Bucciarati, Abacchio, like
yeah, right.
You know,
or like every time there's a transfer student in an anime and it's like a foreign like ethnicity. Students. Every time it's a foreign ethnicity, it'll be like Natasha and then have like a Japanese name. It'd be
Natasha.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I was like, is that really how that usually works? Where it's like, but I mean, you gotta insert some flavor in somehow. But like in terms of like crazy anime, it's not necessarily plot or like ball. Like, what's your favorite or the first one comes to mind where like this is just absurd through and through?
Like absurd good or absurd bad? Because I am a fan of like absurdism.
Not like absurd bad, like Inferno Cop is just supposed to be just an exercise and just the dumbest shit you could possibly imagine. But like, this is just like, oh, this is so out there, like it's crazy, but it's good.
I would say Gintama has many of these consistent parts of it, because it switches from some of the most like hard-hitting emotional moments into the Neil Armstrong jet cannon, which is just a giant snow penis cannon.
Have you ever watched Dead Leaves?
Yeah, that's a trippy ass movie. But yeah, it's just a recurring joke throughout the whole show.
Well, yeah, because Gintama is like if you swap one word out, it just means balls. Doesn't it?
Kintama. Kintama is
silver balls.
Wait, no, Kintama is just testicles. Gintama is silver ball, something like that.
Okay, yeah, so that's like the whole pun.
Kintama also means like gold ball, like gold, because kin is gold. It's very self-aware, but yeah, I am, to those who, if I haven't made it clear yet, I am very much a fan of absurdism. I love absurdist, like good absurdism, because it's one thing when things are weird just for entertainment's sake, and another when things are absurd in a way that I don't know how to describe it.
Like, let's just talk about Dead Leaves, because what more epitome of absurdism are you gonna find?
It literally, you can't watch that movie like by itself for the first time and have a clear understanding of what the fuck you just witnessed. Dude, because it's all gas, all gas. It ping-pongs from so many things within the first 15 minutes.
It's a 45-minute anime movie standalone, or maybe like it's at most an hour, not even, and it's starts and then doesn't stop.
Yeah,
just continuously. It goes from like car chase scene in the beginning, launch into a prison colony in space. Prison colony in space falls apart. Next thing you know, you have like intergalactic rebellion. It makes no sense.
It goes from one, but it's confident and in its approach, which is why it works.
It's got like a great like off-model animation style, and it just makes no sense, and it just totally leans into it. And by the end of it, your brain is deleted. Like me, my brother, and my old roommate, senior year in college, watched it together. It was the second time I'd watched it. I watched it the first time a long time ago, when I was just looking for like cool different animation styles, and Dead Leaves looks great in its own cartoonish style. But when we watched that, my boy had read like an exam next day. He's like, I was gonna study after this, but he's like, not a chance. And my younger brother's like, I'm gonna have to think about this one for a while. And there's nothing like philosophical to contemplate about it. It's just
sensory overload.
It's like a 3-4 hour extravaganza condensed into like 45 minutes, and you don't get to breathe. It's absurd.
It's absolutely bananas. I just love these kinds of works.
What are you poking your head in for?
Like that or Redline. What up?
Yeah. George, we're going good, bro.
We're going strong. We're like 50 minutes in.
Get that in there because the lighting is
We're about
So whenever you guys are ready.
Wow. Yeah.
Senzu bean time.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Senzu.
give me some time. We'll think about it a bit.
Yeah.
Let me know when you want to hop in on the next podcast. I'll make an appearance.
Awesome. Yeah, we still got some
Yeah,
time
we're
left
going
in
for
this
like half
episode.
an hour right now, man. It's still longer. We got some good time.
We got time.
This is beautiful. I can't wait till they're rich and famous off of this.
You're such a fucking goblin.
Yeah, that's a goblin that lives in my house. It's not my brother. It's just.
Yeah, you guys
dude
are
that lives
alike
here.
and still not alike.
We are, yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Like, we spent a year together in quarantine, basically just not having anyone there except for one another. And we simultaneously grew so much alike and apart. Like, we would walk the same way, we would walk the same rhythm, everything. But
I mean,
we
you guys are just two different people.
But we are also just so fucking different. But yeah,
I mean, you are siblings. It's gonna happen. So where were we with Dead Leaves? Were you
yeah,
into it?
just Dead Leaves and just these kinds of anime. Like,
Yeah.
Dead Leaves, not so much. I was also gonna like put in Redline within the same category of just what the fuck is going on, but Redline actually gives you room to breathe.
Yeah, like briefly. Red Line is just a little bit more spaced out.
I mean, it's the big race.
Red Line's great.
Quite a bit of rest with a few like.
God, I can watch that movie over and over again.
Quite literally, I think that if I watch it again,
times.
it would be like well over 15 times that I have seen this because
That's a lot.
No, I have seen it so many times.
Like in its entirety, or you talking about just watching clips?
In its entirety.
That's crazy.
Because I literally analyze that shit. Because again, I've definitely talked about it
We've
before.
definitely brought this up.
But for context, it took 7 years to make because every frame is hand drawn. It took so many millions of dollars to make, and it was a critical
success, commercial failure.
Yeah, it was a critical success, a commercial failure. It made almost no money back, but it just quickly became
definitely watch that.
one of the most fascinating animated movies of all time.
I wouldn't say the plot is like anything special.
Here's the thing.
Like it's
with
a
the
story.
plot.
Listen, it's a story. The animation and action is up front and center. You're supposed to just enjoy the adrenaline rush.
We can definitely do an episode where we delve in a bit deeper about it because I have a lot actually to say about it.
I'm sure like there's lore you can find.
No,
but, like up
it's
front
not
stuff,
deep. It's not deep.
Okay.
It's not deep.
As long as we establish that.
It's not deep.
But it's an
whatsoever.
exercise in amazing animation.
It's an exercise in amazing animation,
And
the plots. What they do is they introduce these different levels of it. You have the actual race. You have the racers and the relationships with one another.
The politics.
You have the politics behind it. You have the intergalactic like viewing of this. Like there's different levels to it that get explored and resolved within it. And as you said, it's not deep whatsoever. But there are different aspects of it that you can definitely explore. There's a story. There are different aspects to the story and different character journeys that I think are quite fun and fascinating to talk about. Like besides just the two protagonists, like there's just so much character behind every character. Like I just use the exact same word to describe the word, but each one of these people, these characters, just has so much detail and subtlety and life just behind them, and I appreciate that so much when something is truly original like that. Like no character in there really feels like a copy of something.
Yeah, no, I mean, plus like all the art's distinctive, everything like that. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's great. Just eye candy. Anything like it's not an absurd piece of anime. It's actually Western animation. It's like I think a cartoon movie that came out in like the 80s, but it's an adult cartoon movie. It's called Heavy Metal. It's got you have to have heard about it. Have you ever watched it?
No. I remember you recommending it to me.
Oh yeah. So Heavy Metal is like an anthology movie where it's like all these little vignettes tied together into like one coherent plot by the end of the movie. But it's like story 2, story 3 within like what's the runtime on it? But it's got like a lot of people behind it and like a lot of great like the soundtrack is all like it's
90 minutes.
90 minutes, yeah, so it's a full movie. It's got like Black Sabbath, Van Halen in the soundtrack, like all sick classic rock. And it's just a total mind melt trip. My a buddy I know, way older than me, used to be a chef. Him and his buddies, when they were like teenagers, like in like the 70s, when did it come out, in the 80s?
This came out like pre-2000, yeah.
Oh, this is definitely pre-2000. Let's find the real date on it.
1981.
1981. So see, like end of like the 70s, 1981. They all took acid. They went to go watch this movie. And my friend's like, yeah, I took a couple hits. My other buddy took a couple hits. My other friend took everything. So he took like 5-8 times. He's like, so I'm watching it. I'm like, wow, this movie's crazy. 30-40 minutes into the movie, he looks at his buddy who is experiencing like ego death and like astral projection. It's just like, this is a cartoon? He didn't realize he watched the whole fucking thing. He's 40 minutes into an animated movie and thought he was watching live action. That goes to show.
Oh my
listen,
God.
I don't think it's got the same effect on the sober mind, but it is absolutely ridiculous. I loved it. It's not like great by any means, but it's just like pure debauchery. It's so fun.
Oh my god, dude. Some media are just inherently enhanced by the consumption of certain drugs. Like,
Well, I mean, like, think about like how many albums are written. Like the Grateful Dead apparently is like, you're not really appreciating their music.
Harry
until-
Styles wrote an entire album on acid, and I don't even listen to Harry Styles whatsoever, but this dude just put him on while we were just like seshing while I was visiting my college. And it was interesting because you could like, you know how when you get high you can sometimes hear certain notes in a musical soundtrack that you otherwise couldn't when you're sober?
Dude, this album's exclusively made to be listened on.
Exactly,
Weed
like,
and stuff like that.
you would hear these instruments that you consciously know no artist would put in there if they didn't account for their audience like listening into it in that same like state. Because like I'm listening to it and I'm like, no one would like listen to these sounds if they weren't like this attuned to it, because otherwise it's just like a mesh of different sounds. But when you are like high, let's say on weed, which is just like very introspective, whether it's the lyrics, whether it's the actual instruments and the way they clash, you know, like music just pops differently. Or even movies like Redline. Watching Redline like for the first time high off my ass was probably one of the best things I could have done, because I'm just sitting there, you know, like how the animation just stretches when they're using the nitro. I was just clutching onto the fucking chair for dear life because that's how I felt. I felt like I was
Getting
speeding
slingshot?
along with it. You know, and I'm like, wow, like that's incredible. And I'm rewatching it sober so many times again, and I'm like,
It's still incredible.
It's still incredible. But just like that little
dude,
twist just added so much to my initial experience.
Certain mediums and stuff like that can be heightened by those kind of experiences. When I was in Amsterdam, and you know, I was like, oh, we have legal things here, and I'm 21, so I bought a brownie, and there's a Banksy museum, and I mean, it kind of goes against Banksy's ethos of like just free art and stuff like that, but like you paid like whatever 10 euros, and you go into this whole like street art graffiti museum, and I'm not gonna lie, having that edible in my system and going through that museum, I had the time of my life there. And I was like, okay, well, like, let me read every single placard that they have here, look at everything, and just, like, think about, like, the message they're trying to send. And I was like, this is so much more enjoyable as this is, because otherwise, I would probably just look at it, I would probably read through it, but the patience and, like, just the level of attention to detail I had, obviously was enhanced. It was a great time. Then went after to an Indonesian restaurant, cleaned out the entire place.
Oof.
It was phenomenal.
Yes, when the
But yeah,
munchies
I mean,
hit.
there's certain things that when you look at them, you're just like, there's no way somebody wasn't on some type of altered state and created them. I can't believe some of the manga and anime that are out there, and I'm like, these were made by sober people.
Honestly.
Because, you know, Japan is like a really anti-drug policy. Like, they're very hardcore. They drink their asses off. You know, they love drinking, but everything else is a big no-no zone. So like, these people are, maybe it's because they're tortured. And then,
You know
and
that
then they come
Jotaro's
out.
voice actor was arrested for weed?
Really?
Yeah,
That's sick.
Jotaro's
There's a lot of
voice
meth.
actor.
You'll see meth there.
What?
Yeah, bro, because it keeps you running, keeps you working long hours.
I mean, okay,
Gets
I
you
guess
going.
I guess I can see that.
Don't let them find Adderall. Don't let them find Adderall, bro. They're gonna blow us out of the water.
Oh my god. Yeah, Adderall is basically just mini meth. But
It is.
what's
It's called prescribed. It says amphetamine salts on the prescription.
Oh my god.
And you're like, yeah, okay, let me give my middle school kid who's got too much energy this drug.
Oh my god, watch out. There's these high schoolers, college students smoking marijuanas. We gotta get away from these criminals. Hey Timmy, have you taken your morning meth yet?
Yeah, I mean, not to the same extent, but like, honestly.
But wait, right, one thing that you said about that, about just like experiencing shit while being on these substances, I was tripping on
apple juice
while I was in Greece, just looking at the beautiful landscape, just walking around, just playing with my dogs, you know, just touching a tree for 20 minutes and feeling just one with nature. It felt like I was touching that shit for like 2 hours. I was like watching ants crawl on my hand, and I used to have an intense phobia of ants. Cause because when I was a kid, like, you know, like they crawl up your pants when you're playing in the park or something like that.
Yeah.
And that happened to me once, and like since then I've been like, oh, like I get very thing, and I'm just sitting there just watching them just walk on me, and I'm like, this is life. Why am I so like why should I be stressed about this? I was just so like attuned with myself, right? And I go inside. And I pick up one of the Monster volumes, specifically the first one, where we first see the antagonist Johan when he has grown up. The one panel of his face reveal, I was staring at it for a while. And then I picked up another one way later, where it's another like significant moment, where it's just again just a still of his face.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was reading it over, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm like, whoa, this is good. But there I was, just peeking on
apple juice,
watching this still image of a man's face, and just feeling exactly what Urasawa wanted me to feel. I felt dread from it. I was looking this man in the eyes, and I was actually like, along with the story, I was so
it's a pretty intense
engrossed.
thing to pick up.
Definitely, because
heavy psychedelics.
Because here's the thing, because this story is not meant to be like lavish or animated, like with these crazy colors.
A pretty human, dramatic story.
But it's so grounded in its humanity, and there I am staring at the face of just a monster, but simultaneously just appreciating the art along with it. I wasn't like having a bad trip or something. I was looking at it and I was just.
But you're also patient. I
was just taken in. I'm like, this is what a drawing, a painting should do. It should make you like really notice what it is. You know, just have it drawn into you.
I get what you're saying. I mean, for me, like, I try my hardest when I'm reading, especially my phone. Because like everything you take in on your phone is like in and out anyways, just reading off like a digital medium. But like when I'm trying to read and I see like nice art, I always try to like slow down, because like a lot of times, maybe just because I have like a binging personality when it comes to like anime, manga, you know, burning through like marathon like 20 episodes of an anime, light work, all that type of stuff. When you're reading manga, it's even at more of your own pace, because just how many pages can you burn through? Exactly. So I'm just fucking torching, and I'm like, dude, someone spent. Especially if it's like a monthly, like someone spent like tens if not hundreds of hours putting this together. Even if it's a weekly release, like a whole team spent hundreds of hours putting together this single like 18-page chapter for you to go through this week.
And you read it in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I was like, obviously I'm not getting like the full gist of what they're making here. So I do try to take my time and like appreciate art. But there's only so much appreciation you have. Like, so I go crazy sometimes, and I try to like really look at stuff, but like when it comes to like really hyper detailed art, there's more to take your time with. Sometimes like, you know, a face is just a face and an action is just an action, and you're supposed to move quick if it's like a choreographed fight scene. But then sometimes like you get like hyper detailed art like in One Punch Man, and you're like, I'm doing a disservice to the artist by not taking my time to just appreciate not just what this, you know, it's obviously story and you're supposed to go to the next page.
Just the sheer artistic value of it.
Like if you took this and you framed it, people would be like, that's an amazing drawing. Like, what is it? Like, what does it mean? And you're just like, this is one piece of a very long story made by a very talented artist.
That is also part of the criteria behind what I use as to what mangas I want to get in physical format. is
The art.
is very much the art. I have 3 criteria about getting in physical format. 1, what the story meant to me, which is the most important reason. I'm not gonna buy a manga that I don't enjoy
like a B grade manga.
simply because it's popular.
Yeah.
You know, but so very much that it's how much the story actually meant to me. Very much impacts if I'm gonna buy it or not. 2, the binding. If it has cool binding, like
like the art,
like some of Urasawa's perfect edition novels or the Berserk leather bound editions.
Yeah, the deluxe edition sold out on Amazon. I'm pretty sure after Europe passed.
Yeah, like I found them on a comic store nearby. I'm gonna get the first one again soon. We're gonna have a whole video, maybe series about that.
It's gonna be a series. You can't
talk about one session.
You can't grasp Berserk in like an hour and a half. That's like that would be an anthology series.
Yeah.
Let alone anything.
And
else.
like that also too. It's stories that aren't just confined within the pages. It's stories that are so much more than that. You know, like in here within this foot of space is one of the most brilliant stories about human psychology you can get your hands on.
Yeah,
like for
really
me, it's very much that. It's the artistic value of the actual art.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the story meant to me, and the binding itself, making sure that it looks nice and like I can read it as many times without it just fucking falling apart on me.
Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta make your calls. Same thing with like, you know, when you're trying to collect books and stuff like that, and you're trying to make like a presentable collection, you're not just gonna buy shit. I mean, you save that for like the ebook space and stuff like that. Like you collect the stuff that means a lot to you. I mean, I'm trying to collect Berserk now. I don't even know what I would collect beyond that at the moment because there's so many manga that I've binged. And I'm just like, actually, Soul Eater. I loved Soul Eater. Soul Eater was that manga has like the anime is great. The anime goes like a little off the rails at the end. They like ended anime originally, so like Studio Bones that adapted it. It's on Netflix. Studio Bones that adapted it stayed true to the art style, great animation, and I don't know why, but they had it going great all the way up until like the last part.
And they just decided to change it.
Still a great anime, totally worth watching, and if there's no better salesman for the manga, it's the anime.
I found it. Here we go.
Yeah, and some of the pages though, some of the pages of art in the manga, like I never realized that Soul Eater's art was that great. Especially near the end, how good it gets.
When I went to Barnes & Noble, and I found they have 2 different editions of it. They have the ones where they're a lot smaller and more like, I don't know what this, paperback?
Yeah.
And then
Can
they
we
have...
pause for a second because I'm really about to piss my pants.
Oh yeah, and then they have the perfect edition, which is also pretty fucking cool.
How far in are we? Oh, there you are. What are we playing?
I was just putting on some background Studio Ghibli vibes.
Word. So you were saying, Adrian?
Oh yeah, no,
After this bathroom break?
just about general book bindings and such. I think they make a good like difference. And
Yeah. Which ones were you talking about? The Dora ones?
no, I forget, but that's fine, dude. You know which manga like you should invest in that I was hesitant at first because I heard mixed things about the binding, but after getting one, like it's good. You gotta get the Vagabond. You gotta get the Vagabond Visitation.
Yeah, I just want Vagabond. I literally just want to own like every panel of it.
That
is some of the most beautiful art. It's just a piece of art. I don't know how else to describe it. Like the photorealistic. What's crazy is that the guy that made Vagabond, which is like, you know, the manga tale of like Miyamoto Musashi, like a real life samurai who won over 60 duels undefeated, wrote the Book of Five Rings. Like the guy that drew that like amazing art and that harsh like gory story of like the samurai's life made Slam Dunk.
Slam Dunk is so good.
And Slam Dunk is like the original like sports popular like mainstream sports anime. And like the anime has so many fans in the West. Like Nike released like a pair of Slam Dunk edition shoes and stuff like that.
Really?
I'm almost 100% sure you can find them.
Yo!
I think it was Nike or it was Adidas. It was one or the other. But a shoe company, like one of the big ones, definitely did a Slam Dunk collab because it had like it's like a cult classic amongst the basketball fans. The anime is great because you know it adapts the manga, but the manga's art is unreal. Like it's polished. It looks great.
I mean, he uses a calligraphy.
Yeah.
Pen rather than an actual.
That's in that's in Vagabond. Like Vagabond, it's like the reason why I bring up Slam Dunk as a juxtaposition to Vagabond is because both art styles are great, but like you know he adopts like a classical style for Vagabond where it looks like almost like you're reading a painting, And Slam Dunk is just like he has like multiple different styles of art that he can do. What's the mangaka's name? I'm gonna blank on it.
Takehiko Inoue?
Oh, so is Inoue. Okay.
Yeah.
So he can do everything. Like it looks like I can't believe Slam Dunk came out in the 90s because of how good the art is. It's like it's just the one season. That's all Slam Dunk is. It's just the one season of telling the story of how a delinquent goes from just being like a piece of crap, and he's just doing his own thing, and then eventually he turns into like the basketball club's like star player. He tries his best to, and it's just like he picks up a sport. It's like a classical sports anime story, but it's so good. But yeah, Inoue did both of those. Vagabond's great though. There's a ton of manga I want to collect. I want to collect Blame so bad.
Same. That is one of the best.
In terms of art,
atmospheric art.
Dude, in terms of art and setting, atmosphere, vibe, like Blame is just it's about like the story of like computer programs.
It's good at making you feel small in a giant technical world.
Yeah, it's just the only way I can describe it is that it feels the same way like those white lights in schools are. Like they just feel like it's just run off like devoid of feeling. It's just a cold, artificial world, and it's beautiful. Like Blame,
so well.
Blame has some of the best art of any manga that I've ever read, and I stick by it and I want to collect it. I haven't watched the anime movie fully. The one I saw that's on Netflix.
It's not bad, but it's definitely nowhere near as good.
It's like CG, and like it just tries to capture like that one climactic arc in like the middle of Blame, but it doesn't even start with it. It's so good. Blame's great. But in terms of what are we running on?
No, we still have like 4.
I think it's 8 minutes. We're good.
Yeah, 8 minutes. But like very much any of these mangas that have extraordinary artistic value, like the Vagabond volume that I got it for $22. $22.
Is that cheap?
It's that cheap per
volume. Is it like
volume.
a deluxe edition or paperback?
It's each one having 3 volumes, each volume being like this big. So it's quite thick. It's well over.
Is it hardcover?
Not really. It's kind of like this.
See, the reason why I like the Berserk volumes,
because it's.
Dude, that's a fucking hefty.
These are sturdy. These are gonna last a lifetime.
Well,
that's one of the reasons why I was skeptical about the Vagabond thing, because I've heard that the book binding can be a bit flimsy with that one.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you take good care of it and you don't abuse it.
Don't read it by folding it. I mean, do your best. You gotta maintain it, but you also should enjoy it.
But again, I got it for $20, and I'm reading, and some of these pages, I'm looking at them, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like $20 is worth.
No, I mean, listen, you can never. It's really hard to put a price on a subjective art.
That's what I'm saying. But because of
art's so subjective. It's whatever you want to pay for.
Yeah. So whatever art styles draw you, that's the kind of stories worth investing in. I believe that's the kind of thing that I'm gonna keep.
Same thing goes for anime. Think about how many pretty looking anime you've watched that you're like, the story is nothing. This anime is not even good. It just looks so fucking good that I can't help but watch it. It's just an exercise in animation. I mean, I'm trying to think of something that comes on top of my head. Like Ufotable, the Fate Stay Night series is its own universe, and I haven't really dived into it. But they did one anime. It's based on a mobile game app or something, and it's just guns are actually people, and so these people attain the power from the gun that they represent. Garbage plot.
So stupid.
They just go into random years and settings of ancient Japan to more modern.
But the animation is good, which is why it keeps drawing people.
But it looks amazing. The fight's amazing. Everything like that looks great. But as an anime, is it really good? No, it's a C story. But you're damn, this just looks so fucking good. It's just all eye candy, and I'm you can appreciate that.
I wish there was a way you could actually catalog and just hold on to animes in a way that's kind of like books. I guess you could say holding them as CDs,
but most anime, when they were making money, it was off disc sales. That's their number one. The anime sector, I don't know how much that's changed. My knowledge that's so old now. But when I was coming on as a fan again in 2012 and everything, the way that business model worked was that they made money off physical media. So you would buy the deluxe edition for the anime seasons when they would come out, and they would cost $120.
I don't
They would come in with all these tie-ins.
Because like streaming, there's no guarantee that the shows are gonna be on there. There's no guarantee that these shows are gonna be on there for as long as you want to watch them for.
Yeah, that's
like
why
I would much rather
like,
have a physical copy of the things that I want to watch.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it's not cheap. Like
It's
they make
not at
that's
all.
where they make,
Especially
that's
in-
where
in
the
this
bread
day and
butter-
age.
Yeah, and you're buying from Japan, shipping costs and everything. It's not cheap to buy those. So it's like that's a huge barrier to entry for new
You know
series.
We gotta go to Japan.
I mean, that's the goal eventually. I would
We
totally
gotta go to Japan.
I would love to go to Japan.
Dude, whether it's during my college years or after, we're gonna go there and just splurge on just anime shit.
Dude, you need bank to travel to Japan. Japan's not a cheap time.
Dude, by that
Japan's an
point,
expensive country.
by that point, with mask selling and stuff like that, I'm gonna have plenty of bank.
How's that been going? So you
Again?
have you started making any masks yet?
It's gonna be in senior year that I'm gonna be dedicating.
Yeah, and
full
so
time with
just
it.
for context, these aren't like surgical masks. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, can you give a little bit of context for people? Because I know what you're talking about.
These silicone masks that they make for Hollywood movies, that they make for Netflix shows. There's different types, whether it's monsters, whether it's characters, whether it's these grotesque Halloween things.
Oh, I thought you were
But-
still making clay masks.
No, but that's the thing. It's you start with a base and you make the mask out of clay, and then you make a mold out of that, and then you can make as many copies of the sculpture as you want.
Oh.
So, and what I'm gonna do is, for example, in Dorohedoro, that universe is filled with characters wearing masks, and
Yeah,
I
it's a
know,
key part
and
of
I
the plot.
know that there's people in this fan base who are willing to pay good money for these kinds of masks, and like.
Well, dude, not even just an anime manga, but think about like any con, like Comic Con, all that kind of stuff. You know how much
Like,
money and
look at
time
these
people put
ones.
into cosplay?
Look at these ones, and these are resin, like hard masks. They go 200, 350. That's, here we go. Like, this
Those
is
are
the
tough,
range. This is the range that these half masks, that's what they're called, that only do like the head. If I do masks that also like contain the torso, those sell for like 700. Like, I can make
Yeah, if they sell, right?
dude, if they sell, that's the thing. Me making them, and my brother who like knows a lot about marketing and stuff, and just me in general knowing what fan bases want. It's labor intensive, but it's most definitely gonna be able to fund a lot of
yeah.
my future prospects.
I respect as an art form. I think that's so cool that people are able to mold entirely different like face structures, shape.
Dude, like after this, I'm gonna show you a brief video. It's 4 minutes long of some dude that did the entire process from start to finish, exactly what I just told you, and it shows all the intricacies and
I mean,
shit.
I used to watch all those. Like, Sci-Fi had a channel, it was like special effects off.
This is
It
like
was
the only video of its kind that I was able to find ever.
Really? Yeah, I mean, they do cool shit. Like, the Sci-Fi, when they had the channel, was like, who could make the best special effects? And it'd be a theme, it'd be like monster.
But yeah.
And these people would have like 3 days to like mold, do everything.
I love
and create
those.
paint and makeup and do like the best looking possible monster that they could. It was dope. I
Dude.
mean, I think it's an art form. I would never pick up that skill set because it wouldn't do anything for me. But I respect the amount of time and like labor people are putting into
The
it.
thing about this though,
And dude, if you can make money off that, why not make money off something that you like? You know
the
what I
thing
mean?
about this though, once I am able to put it into like actual practice and professionally be able to make these, you know what I can also make? Props.
Yeah, you
Like
can do
these
props.
actual huge, like I have seen like whole tutorials on how to make the berserk sword.
Yeah, but see, that would
we
piss me
can
off. That's
make
not a
shit,
real sword.
dude. We can make shit together to the degree of like what we want from these shows. Once I'm able to reach like that level of like,
I get what you're saying. I mean, like,
knowledge.
have you ever seen like the YouTube videos where like, oh, making the sword from Zelda? They get like 20 million
yeah,
views.
like kind of like that. But we would be able to do it for our sake. So
yeah, dude,
I think you're
that
going
shit
to
would just
enjoy
drive me
this.
crazy because like if I would ever get one detail wrong or if it wasn't to a level of perfection that I wanted, I would get mad at myself if I fucked it up.
See, that's the nice thing about the masks, though, because you can spend as much time on the actual sculpture as you want. You can spend weeks on it, perfecting it to the very details that you
But if
want.
that shit don't sit right,
No, but that's the thing. It can sit as perfectly right until you feel like it. You can have it for like a year. You can have it for 2 years until you make up your fucking mind. But once you do, and you make a solid mold out of it, like the school that I learned how to do it, makes these professionally. They make thousands of copies, and there's a supply store like 10 minutes away from my campus. So one good mold of that can make hundreds, if not thousands, of copies, and each one going at like 200 minimum. Money, baby.
We can
But
make
yeah.
money off that, dude.
Dude,
amazing.
it's we're gonna be able to fund some crazy shit for the future
Yeah.
of this podcast. But speaking of, it looks like it's time for us to wrap this episode
running
to a
down?
close. It's 10 seconds and 3 seconds from
Here
now.
comes the countdown. Alright, well,
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in. It's wonderful being here and just talking about the shit.
Yes, sir. Another episode of Galaxy Express.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Peace.